Society is in such a state of decay, and this podcast, focusing on the audacity of activism, whatever the heck that may mean. Once again, Megan uses this podcast to attack her haters and criticism in the media. So there was a jab at the UK tabloids, and then going to town on this facade that she's trying to create of people thinking that she's some caring humanitarian and activist who is some poster child for being the pillar of what women should look like and be like. And I'm sorry, guys, I couldn't listen past 15 minutes because today's guest is equally as toxic and destructive as Meghan Markle.
Because you need it, because it's an unfathomable amount of shit that you take, Meghan. I can't believe it. and I fought back on your behalf years before I'd ever met you because I was so outraged by it. I was so outraged with the twisting of this very normal, very kind, very civilized woman. That demonization just shows how afraid they are of you. And I'm sure maybe you can't keep this in or whatever, but the treatment of you, and I'm so sorry you've had to withstand it. It has re-highlighted for us the intense unkindness and bigotry and misogyny of our media.
So Meghan had Jamila Jamil on one of the covers for the Forces of Change magazine that she guest edited for Vogue. I had no idea who this woman was until we heard rumblings between Piers Morgan and Jamila Jamil over the September issue of British Vogue that Meghan Markle guest edited with Jamila Jamil on its cover. Piers Morgan called out the hypocrisy because Jamila Jamil is exactly like Meghan Markle, who is about putting women down and being abusive and a bully. And Piers was not lying because there are many tweets out there that show that Jamila Jamil is a nasty piece of work. And the thing that makes me really angry about Jamila Jamil, the nobody, was that she thought her voice was so superior that she bullied a woman online who ended up taking her life. Piers Morgan accused actress Jamila Jamil of bullying Caroline Flack, who had taken her life that month, which was in February of 2020. Piers Morgan released those DMs that he had with Caroline Flack to show the world that Jamila Jamil was a fraud, considering she was online preaching about online harassment as if she was some virtue signaling saint. He wanted to show the other side that Jamila Jamil led an online pylon against Caroline Flack. And she couldn't take it anymore, and she ended up sadly taking her own life. She is partly responsible for it. So when she came onto this podcast today, and after hearing her defend Meghan in such a virtuous way that I had to stop, because nothing that either Meghan nor Jamila could say about standing up for women and helping women, because both of them are on record demonstrating that they are bullies, they are mean girls, they are frauds, they are hypocrites, and both want to influence the youth to their mantra or their ideology, which is so dangerous. They are teaching people that you can be nasty, you can be mean, but covertly covering it up as being direct or being assertive. No, it's not okay to treat people the way that they have been treating people and then masking it as it being a strong female. Jamila even emphasized it in the podcast by saying,
I was such a victim of misogyny. I was a victim of diet culture. I was hugely anorexic, very depressed, very anxious, very mentally ill. And
clearly, this woman has severe mental issues, and for her to have a public platform to which she says she wants to target 12-year-old girls.
The 12-year-old me would have wanted the 30-year-old me to do something for the next generation of 12-year-olds. And so that's my motivation.
Do you see how dangerous this is? These two lunatics think that they are God's gift to the earth, that the youth need to listen to their voice. This voice is so dangerous and toxic to society, as is, you see what happens when they use their voice, how divisive and how destructive they are. And this podcast was not about, for Meghan at least, not about the women. It was about getting back at the UK media by having Jamila Jamil on the show, Meghan's getting back at Piers for all the misogynistic comments that she claims he said when he was really only telling the truth. The truth that we now all know for Meghan to be. And I think that right now, nobody needs to listen to this podcast because the worst thing that you can do to a narcissist is completely ignore them, giving them no attention. And I think for today's podcast, considering that she had another bully on here, like it just falls on deaf ears. And I get that there's other people that genuinely mean well. If you want to learn about what's going on in Iran and the women's rights over there, just Google it. You don't need Meghan Markle to tell you that you should stand by them when she has clearly shown no action in how she's standing by the women. Just by saying she stands by it is not enough. I highly doubt that the women in Iran who are facing the death penalty are saying, well, at least we have Meghan Markle standing behind us. She might be standing behind us all the way from her mana shit show Olive Garden Castle, but at least we have the Duchess, ex-royal, royal, on our side. Just shut up, Meghan. Please, just shut up. As you can see, these two have one thing in common. They're both thirsty bitches. Back in 2020, Blind Item was revealed. The illiterate royal wanted to meet up with the foreign-born illiterate actress because the royal knows the actress will now go after anyone who attacks the royal, while at the same time continuing her crusade against waist trainer T and surviving the flu 7 times in 1 year. And that's talking about Jamila Jamil's Munchausen syndrome, that she's constantly complaining about something. Both of them are clearly disturbed women that need professional help. And it's unfortunate that they understand very well how powerful the media can be and have used it to their own advantage to gain sympathy, to gain attention, and also to accumulate wealth. What's really evident is that Meghan is pushing really hard to get her image changed to this activist and compassionate person. The media and journalism here in the United States is so irresponsible with what they put out. It's so biased and so targeted from a political perspective that the people don't know what to believe anymore. And we have to now start looking at outside of the United States in news to see what's being reflected as accurate, because we can't trust our own media. And I think that Harry and Meghan are aligned with people who are actively trying to control the internet and censor people, and at the same time going after your children to indoctrinate them into this ideology that is so warped in reality. Have we fallen so far as a society that if you just don't acknowledge it or look the other way, it doesn't exist? Nobody's talking about how disrespectful Meghan has been to her father and the lack of compassion that she has shown him. The media is so concerned about Harry's relationship with his brother and his father. Why are people not questioning why Meghan is such an asshole to her father? All I can say is don't pay attention to the media. We have 2 more of these left to go. Thank God this will be over soon. This podcast has accomplished nothing for the good of mankind. It sucks, Spotify. Do better, please. And on that note, that's all I have for today. I will be back tomorrow with more content. Until then, be safe. Bye.
It was such a fraud.